Hello and welcome back to the Catch-Up. Today I'm joined by two special guests. One is a regular on the show. I like to get him involved. I think, he could really improve his knowledge a little bit. But other than that, I think he's a great addition to the show. Welcome, Guru.
G'day, Kat. A few days off for you.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You're looking refreshed.
Yeah, I feel fresh. It was so nice. I went to Queensland over the weekend and it was lovely and I really needed it, and I would recommend it to anyone who is not from Queensland to go to Queensland for the weekend.
Yeah, flight home with a superstar too.
Yeah, Ruben Garrick was on my flight. Didn't get a chance to talk to him. Just thought I'd leave him alone.
That's nice of you. Very nice of you.
Yeah, and we're also joined by who is commonly known as my brother out on the streets. Rando, welcome.
Thanks, sis. Thanks for the intro. Good to see you giving a shot for Guru here. He's really deserved his first grade spot here.
I've earned it. Yeah,
he's earned it.
We're about to go the long way around.
Well, on today's episode of the Catch-Up, I couldn't think of a better person to have a bit of a yarn about his experiences so far working on the social side of rugby league. We're also planning something really, really exciting together, and it's not a family reunion. It's something else that is very exciting. We'll get to it at some point. We're not going to spoil anything today. But Rando, thanks for coming on the Catch-Up today. Let's just kick it off with how long you've been doing what you do.
Good start. Damn, I thought we were planning the family reunion today too. I'll throw those plans out the door and let mum know. But no, I started back in, 2021, I think, officially, but been creating the database since about 2020 with all the stats and stuff, mainly purely to help my punting ways in between that 2-month gap where the game was stopped. And then, just kind of I had all these stats together, showed my girlfriend, and it was actually my girlfriend's idea to come up with the page. She said that you should really take this to the socials. I think there's a market for it. Searched up on Instagram and Facebook, NRL stats. Didn't seem to be an active page at all. Didn't know it was a niche either, but turns out I started posting, and I think, and it just doesn't happen to everyone, but within 5 days, I had a stat that the NRL Roast shared, and from there I went from 0 to 1,000 followers in the first week.
Wow.
And I guess since then it's just constantly grown. But I do have to give credit to my girlfriend who told me to create the page in the first place, and credit to my old work for letting me use their Photoshop without permission.
That's wild. I love that it was, first of all, credit where credit's due. Got to shout out the girlfriend
100%.
for having the idea initially. But who would have thought that a stats page would be something that would grow so fast?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it kind of blew my mind how many people really, one, knew about their footy, like to the granular stats, and appreciated the content. So I didn't think it'd grow that far. That's why I called myself the random stats guy, because I thought that that'd be an easy way to just delete the account in 5 weeks' time when it's gone absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
So try to stay anonymous as long as I could.
I think though, like watching Rando's rise, and like it did happen very quickly.
Yeah.
It happened very quickly. But I always think with your stuff, mate, like if you can create content out of something that you want to share at the pub, it's a winning ticket, especially with blokes. It happens all the time that I'm at the pub with mates and I hear them say something and I'm like, I fucking know where that came from. It's this dickhead straight away. And I think if you can, and it is crazy how, in hindsight, I look at it, I'm like, of course, if the stats are good enough, of course it's going to be successful. But when you first start these things, you're just like, how can it possibly grow to a point where it's your career now? It's insane.
If you told me back in 2021 when I was first taking these steps that I can make it a career, I thought best case scenario for me, it gets a few thousand followers and I just keep doing it whilst working full time and working on that. But it's absolutely insane how far it's taken me, and to be where I'm sitting right now, just wouldn't have thought about it.
It's on the catch-up. I know.
I know, exactly.
Wild.
I was like, fuck, if I am on a catch-up in 3 years' time talking to Guru, that'd be wild.
Have you always been numbers orientated? So for you, this stats side of the game, did that come quite naturally to you, or did you develop it because there was a niche, there was a need for it?
I've always been interested in the stats. It's going to sound like I'm a fucking loser, but when I was
we already picked up a vibe.
Oh shit! Beautiful. Now that makes it easy to talk about this. When I was a teenager growing up, I wanted to create my own version of The Annual by David Middleton.
Yeah.
So I should have brought it in for show and tell, but I've
We've got
literally
8 of them
it.
sitting over there.
Literally, one of the
Whenever you want
greatest
them.
books ever made in rugby league history. So I kind of tried to recreate that and worked on that and literally went to Officeworks, got it binded and everything. Not for anyone else to see, but just for me to just go through, even though I just end up buying The Annual later that year. So I guess stats has always been a massive thing for me. And even when I was playing footy, I'd always think about, okay, I need to run 20 times in a game if I'm going to play well or score a try or something like that, work on the little things. So I've always been really numbers orientated. And then, it just made sense, I guess.
It's funny when you say that Annual mag, right? Like, and I don't know how much that name will mean to you, Kat, but like David Middleton, like his nickname was the Guru.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, he'd be on the footy show, he'd be on these things, and they'd throw to him for random things, and he would have this unbelievable recall of knowledge. And like I didn't think about him at all when I started my page, but he was someone that I always loved. And you'd have him on the footy show, and everyone's favourite to be Fatty, Sterlo, Matty Johnson. I used to love David Middleton and still do. He is an absolute genius, and it's wild. He's kind of inspired both of us.
100%.
And
I don't know if he's ever looked and gone like, I'd inspire someone to create a stats page or something like that. But yeah, he's absolutely incredible what he does, and definitely someone I look up to and see the path that he's taken for me in the future.
It's like a fusion. You said it, but when you said he's like the guru, but he's the stats man, it is very much a hybrid of what the both of you do.
Yeah, and especially for me, like I find it amazing. Like I reckon I've only had it said to me 5 or 6 times that David Middleton's nickname was Guru.
Yeah.
And it's
I thought it was Middo.
Yeah, well, like a lot of the time, that was what he was called. I always find it weird that people haven't put it together more often, sort of thing, because it makes so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's gold. And you mentioned that you used the stats when you played, and we would have, I mean, if you follow Rando or NRL Roast or whoever else shared that post over the weekend, we saw that you were quite the rugby league player in your time. Now you are a little bit in, what would you call it? You
sling.
are not in the best shape at the moment to play.
In a sling.
In a sling. What happened? And tell us a little bit about your footy background.
Well, I'll start with the injury. Also up on my socials that I've kind of fell sideways and got jumped on while I was lying on the ground, and the ball pierced, awkwardly crunched my shoulder inwards, popping my rib out and dislocating my collarbone at the same time. So that was a bit scary, but that's my season, and I keep saying it, my career over. But yeah, I guess growing up, I was playing footy, never really made any rep sides, was barely in the main side at school and stuff like that. And I really loved my rugby league, but never got to play it because school footy compulsory on a Saturday, rugby league being played on a Saturday as well. Couldn't kind of juggle the two. So my mate told me to come over, trial out with the North Sydney Bears. They were doing open trials for Harold Matts. I think they've closed them since then. But managed to seep in there, played out of my skin in the trial matches, and was able to get selected for the Harold Matts squad. Didn't play for the first 4 rounds and was literally at the point of going like, it's because it was a lot of training on the side, and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to go through with this. I'm about to jump off, and then got named as the 23rd man to play against the Sharks at Shark Park, and I was like, fine, I'll give it a go. And then basically kept my spot for the rest of the season, and then got an opportunity to play SG ball the next year, a year young, and so on and so forth. So it was definitely a what do they call it? Closing doors moment, where I could have just given it up then and there. But mum kind of just kept pushing me, saying, you're in it this deep, you may as well keep going. And it had a great journey, I guess.
Now he plays it down, but he actually was a very good footballer.
Yeah.
By the way.
I mean, with even the video that you clipped up the other day, it's genuinely good footy.
Thank God. Thank God.
And even what you said there, like playing SG ball a year young, like you see all these guys that make first grade now, and a lot of them do the same thing. And I think people just sort of go, oh yeah, like that's what happens. It's fucking hard.
100%.
It's brutal. Like in order to make it in the NRL in junior grades, like not only do you need to probably be the best in your age group, but you need to also be able to dominate the one above.
Yeah.
Which is the reality of
absolutely.
it, which all these guys that come out the other end have done it, but there's not many that are actually capable of doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I had the harshest ever estuary ball debut as a young 16-year-old running up against the Roosters side, which had likes of Latrell, Angus Crichton, Joey Manu was playing in the second row. They had Johnny Tuivasa-Sheck as well, and Paul Momirovski. Like that, the names in that side were incredible. They rolled us 72-6 in a 70-minute game.
And like, just to give you context, it was that year, like that grand final that year was Latrell versus Nath Cleary,
literally
in the grand final. Like it was a wild age group.
100%. So yeah, I think, but that just. I mean, I always thought when I was playing Howard Mats, I felt like I was playing three age groups up. But when I went to the SG ball side, it was just weird. But I feel like the second year in every sport that you play, like that second year, you feel way more comfortable, which I tended to do.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I actually didn't know how extensive your footy career was. That's really impressive.
But he can fucking play.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I was sorry, it's in my other hand. Can't show it on camera. I can just peer it out. But I got this injury. I don't know if there's a zoom in this camera.
Is this the ring finger?
It says the ring finger. Ryan Pappenhausen. I got my fingers caught in his jersey when he burnt me on the side, and he broke and dislocated my right ring finger. And I remember at the time I played on for 4 more weeks with it bruised, but it was out like fucking this. And I was just so scared that I just wasn't going to make it anywhere further after that game. But a big plug that Ryan Pappenhausen broke my finger, claimed that. But I got the opportunity after that SG ball season. I got a letter in the mail from South Sydney to be in their high performance team heading into the 20 season. That was definitely probably the biggest moment, I guess, for me to ever just like to jump into that system in 2015, like straight after they won that premiership was fucking crazy. But there was a time where I was just like, when I did the finger, I was like, that was my rugby league career over. But fortunately got a second chance and then blew it.
That's so cool. Wow, I love that. Tell us, we were talking off camera about this journey that you started in social media side of things, and Guru was actually a part of that start. Tell us about that. Yeah,
he was the first guy to risk it all and put me on a podcast. I remember... I'm
no stranger to a bad bet. Don't worry about that.
I think he regretted it from the get-go because my internet at home is possibly the worst thing ever. And I just kept coming in and out of that podcast going, well, that was my one shot. And I fucking couldn't even speak, couldn't even get a word in, first of all, because my internet was so bad. So, me and Guru go way back doing different stats I think it was post...
When was it? Was it 21?
Yeah, 2021.
21, yeah. Yeah, because I remember like we did it for a few weeks and it was actually fantastic. I loved it. And then I don't know, we couldn't line it up 1 week, 2 weeks, and then we just sort of fell out. And then I got a message from Tom and Eddie saying, hey, we're going to reach out to Random Stats Guy. And I said, mate, he's tremendous. You'll absolutely love having him on. So then you jumped on there and I was sort of like, fuck, he's probably, and like you were working full time still. 100%. And actually I was working too at that point too. So I think we just got too busy. But I remember Rando used to have like a statistical team of the week. Yeah. You still do, obviously. But I used to make my team of the week and see where it lined up. And then I'd have to guess his and I would never get anywhere near it. It was awful.
You got 12 once. It was pretty good.
I was close. I was very happy that week. That's probably when I called it a day. But yeah, I was actually thinking as you started talking, that feels like years ago. It really wasn't that long ago.
It's crazy.
It was only 3 years ago.
It's crazy. Yeah. Literally.
The growth that you've experienced. So an average week for Random Stats Guy now, you're working with the biggest names in NRL social media. Can you tell us what a week is for Random Stats Guy?
It's very, very busy. So definitely Monday is usually my day off, I like to think, but it's really not. I'm doing all the stuff for the Patreon channel, creating all the stats for every game for 5 games, for 8 games usually, and then creating Stats Watch on top of that, which is like a 5,000 word essay on all the best stats for each game. So that's my Monday. Tuesday to Thursday. Got given a real good opportunity with Timmy from SC Playbook, obviously friend of the show. Sits in this chair. Sits in this chair. But yeah, so he gave me an opportunity, and it was really funny about that story because he reached out to me while I was at full-time work, and I actually originally knocked him back. I was having a really busy Friday, and he sent me the message, and for some reason I just said, nah, I can't do it. And then we talked to friends over the weekend about they're like, this is your out. This is like, you can jump and have nothing to fall back on, but he's actually given you something to fall back on. So I actually reached out to him a week later saying, hey, mate, I've had a change of mind, which is good because he was just about to interview a bunch of other guys for the role. So got really lucky with that. But yeah, I think got to thank Timmy for giving me that out. So that's what the Tuesday to Thursday looks like. And then Wednesdays, I'm with this buffhead talking about all things punting and rugby league on about even. And then Thursdays, basically a chiller. Friday, definitely unwinding, but definitely the first 4 days are very, very hectic.
And I know just from talking to Tim without revealing too much, how much of a difference you've made to SC Playbook. And I remember talking to him when he told me that you'd originally said no, and I thought, the fuck is this bloke doing?
I know.
What the fuck? And then he told me that a few days later, oh no, Randall's in. I went, thank God. This is a win all round for everyone. This is fantastic.
But I think it's the same thing. And I think I was talking to you about like that, or like hearing a podcast that you're in about your initial leap with Bloke. And I think that kind of resonated the most. And I kind of slept on that and how everyone's made a leap into the unknown. It's just taking that leap in the first place that holds a lot of people back. And that was with me. I was like, I was really comfortable at my job, like love my work and everything there, but obviously really passionate about the rando stuff. But I'd wake up in the morning and just be typing on my computer on my way to work, then do my 9 to 5 on my lunch break, wasn't talking to anyone, just typing away, creating content again. Then as I was coming home, like 5 till 12 in the morning or whatever it was, just creating content and working on content. Like I didn't have a stop button really. Yeah. And, once again, full credit to my girlfriend, Maddie, for putting up with me doing that whole thing, because it probably would have been, she's very busy in her own self, but like I just never had a minute to just kind of enjoy what I had.
You talk about that leap and it's the scariest thing in the world when you're standing on the edge of it. Like I still remember I got a call from someone years ago saying they were taking the leap, and it was Kat. And I remember listening to her going, fuck, I know she's going to be successful, and I wanted to bring her under Guru eventually. Yeah. But I was like, fuck, I've probably missed the ship here.
Yeah.
And it's weird how it all lined up a couple of years later.
The timing was perfect. Yeah.
Bizarre.
I definitely resonated with everything you were saying there, because I went through a period of time where I was trying to do so much and maintain a 9 to 5. And it's just that when you take that time away and you now have all of this room for creativity, your life changes. When you're no longer just trying to fit that creative or whatever it is your side hustle into your day job, you now have all of this space to think of new ideas and pursue different things. And I think it's just, that's why you need to take the leap, because you don't have the opportunity to do that until you free yourself of the weight of the stable job, which is the scary part of it, but you need to do that in order to grow. And I think I was actually going to ask you, because I'm sure you do as well, I get a lot of messages from aspiring creators and people who want to be doing what we're doing. And my advice is always just start creating, start doing something, start showing people what you're good at. And you're going to have to take time out of your everyday life to do that stuff. No one's going to create the time for you to do that.
Yeah.
Do you have advice for someone who's looking at you going, that's where I want to be? What would you say to them?
I think like the biggest thing, and I'm not too sure if I did it properly, I think I had a lot of support systems set up where one, my girlfriend had more patience. Sorry about that. Somebody's trying to get a hold of me.
Is it your girlfriend?
Probably. But no, I think the big thing was I'm not too sure if I handled the time management well, and I'm sure that other relationships could probably burn and die if they went the same passage as me. So sometimes I don't think that the best role model in terms of what I was doing. But my best advice is just have a crack. But I think the big thing is find your niche. Don't do something that everyone else is doing, because no one's going to really be able to find you. I think like TikToks are great and Instagram Reels is great, because you can do a 40-minute podcast, but you can show them your best parts for 1 to 2 minutes and kind of get more people viewing it from that angle. So I guess work on that creative side, the real side, because that's the best way to kind of get, that viral moment. And I never believed in the viral moment, even when I was sitting in uni classes talking about viral marketing. I just didn't think it existed, but I was very, very, very wrong.
I think the other thing you've done well too, mate, is like you've just created a web of like contacts that you have, and like, like you came on my podcast originally, which made you sort of part of that community, the About Even community, similar to me, what I've done with Bloke and whatnot. And I think for a lot of people out there that, you know, I talk to people that like, I don't think people realize that like I went on Bloke for 18 months without getting paid a cent just because I knew it would open up new audiences and whatnot. And it just, and same with you at About Even, how you've just become part of the punter and dribbler community. Now the SC Playbook community just makes such a difference.
100%. 100%. And that's the thing. Like I usually don't really expect, you know, a cent because what it's doing to me, like in terms of promoting my brand and what I'm all about, that's all that really matters to me, and that's really invaluable. Not saying that people should stop paying me, but that
Timmy's listening. He's like, okay, noted.
But no, I'm really grateful for the opportunity in the first place. Don't expect to be like, you can't just go in there all cocky asking for people to compensate you for your time. I think you got to put the time in, the effort, and it doesn't happen overnight.
100%.
It doesn't.
100%.
It may look like we've peaked, but it took me a year and what was it, 2022. So it took me a year and a half to get onto that Hello Sport About Even one. Not saying that I was trying my hardest to get on, that they reached out, but it took me a year and a half to get anywhere from just being random stats guy, anonymous behind a page.
Yeah, and that's where, like, as Rando just said, that doesn't happen overnight. Like, I didn't watch your stats for an evening and go, oh my God, I want to bring him a podcast.
Yeah,
I watched it
exactly.
for 6 months. One, to make sure it was solid. Two, to make sure you weren't a flip, which is like is what you need to do. You need to prove to people that you're worthy to be part of what they do. And I mean, like, just about everyone in our community, you've become an integral part of everything that we do.
Yeah.
It's been huge, mate. It's been incredibly impressive to watch it all.
Yeah, you've cemented yourself as a pivotal player in so many different, I guess, projects now with About Even, obviously everything that you do on your own as well. But then I think you have this link up with NRL Roast and whatnot that's really cool, and the way that he shares your work and stuff. But it's really interesting to hear that side of things, because I think it's something that the three of us can definitely relate with, because I also remember when Guru quit his day job and said, I can do this podcasting stuff full time. And I think it's just really interesting for people out there that want to do it. You're going to feel like people aren't noticing for a really long time. And then all of a sudden there is this growth that you'll see, but it's still, do you ever have imposter syndrome about it? Because it's like, we don't have a conventional day job, because I know that I get imposter syndrome where I'm like, what is my 9 to 5?
Yeah.
How am I making this work?
I think I'm almost... Like, what I liked about my old job was that I could say I was a digital marketing specialist, and it just sounded like really cool. Yeah. Whereas now I'm like, oh, fuck, statistician, content creator, influence. No, not really an influence at all.
You are.
But like content creator kind of to me just seems like a different bucket. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
What do you say when you say, you're the rugby league guru?
I say content creator.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hate when people ask the question.
100%.
And you say like influencers, like that's not what we are, but like you, for example, like, mate, you are influencing people's bets, tips, and super coach week
Not
in,
advice, by the way, not
week
financial.
out. But like it is like what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just a weird thing to talk about. But I think it'll be very interesting. Like the generation after us that are doing what we're doing in 15 years, I reckon it'll just be so normalized. And it'll be so, like, it won't be for everyone, but I think it'll just, like, I even had a guy I was talking to last night who commented on one of my posts and goes, I've never met a bigger dickhead that quotes himself so much. And I was just like, mate, you don't, like, if you're going to do what we do, you've got to know how to promote yourself. You've got to know how to push it forward. And I was even thinking about that last night, like, and I do those posts all the time, but I'm like, fuck. It's my way of getting people, a new audience to my page.
Yeah.
And I'm like I was thinking about it last night. I was like, that's just going to become so normal in the next 10, 15 years.
100%.
Like it's going to be the most normal. It's just going to become like an everyday sort of thing, I think.
Yeah.
But I
People
look
in our field.
I look at you, I look at Timmy and, myself and Tom and Eddie as well, like how non-players are getting into the media space in that NRL realm is incredible. Because if you told me 5 years ago that someone like us could, be listened to and, be like influence people on their opinion on the game, I think it'd be crazy. But as you mentioned, it is normalising.
But it's the same as someone walking in off the street 20 years ago and sitting next to Paul Vaughton on the footy show.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
No, wouldn't do it.
But the door's been opened now. Yeah. It's just whoever wants to work the hardest.
100%. And you got to know your stuff. We're not saying we're just walking in there and just throwing
No, for sure.
willy-nilly
stuff.
stuff.
Like you have to
stuff.
be good at what you do at first, but then it's who's going to work the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's the awkward side of this job, which is self-promotion.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between being really arrogant and walking into a room and thinking that you're the know-it-all versus being confident in what you bring to the table. You know that you're well thought through with your stats, and there's evidence that the stats can be, you know, that they can actually win people money and that they can do gamble responsibly. But just there's evidence there. And similar with your audience, Guru, you've built this really loyal following, which has been so interesting to me to come into this community and just see how devoted they are to you. I was in Cairns over the weekend and someone walked past me and goes, "Hey, Kat, love the show." I'm like, I'm in Cairns being recognized. That wasn't a year ago. And I know I'm not new to the media space, but I'm new to the rugby league space. And I think that's just a sign of how impactful it is.
Yeah.
Because people are recognizing you everywhere. And
Magic Round was crazy. Like I just literally didn't even think that many people, like everywhere, like walking from where we went and did the About Even show back to the Caxton was just being stopped every 5. It was crazy. I never thought, I just thought I'd walk through the Caxton. No one would really know, maybe 1 or 2, but it was...
That's wild.
I just, it's maybe, like I left Brisbane just on the flight home, just looking back going like, that is unbelievable. So, so wholesome. A wholesome moment, I guess.
And that's, mate, like leaving Magic Round last year, I remember I was the same as my first Magic Round, and mate, I reckon it tripled to the second one I went to.
That's
like,
crazy.
The growth in it all has just been, and like so grateful for it, so happy for it. But like it was almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Magic Round
I think you were unwell, to be fair.
I was unwell, but I was overwhelmed. It was like, it was a lot to take in.
No, I could see you were a bit of a deer in
I was a bit
headlights.
rattled. Genuinely.
There was one point where we were at the Caxton, and being female and getting out of busy places, it kind of comes with the territory. You learn how to do that pretty quickly, you know, clubbing experiences and whatnot.
I don't do much quickly, so big challenge.
But at one point, Guru had said to me, "I need to get out of the Caxton right now." And I was like, "Just follow me." And we just bolted out of there. But I think that's the problem, is that everywhere you go, you almost feel a sense of responsibility to acknowledge people when they say hi to you and stuff. But
and it was mostly because like I was half dead. I was like, there's the people that come up to me like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'd be like coughing up my lung into my hand. I'd look up and they stuff their hand there, and I'd be like, "This is rank. I shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah, you were the next super spreader.
It was, I was saying to Kat, I wish we could have had like, you know, like in those movies about like diseases that spread, how they shake hands, it's like a red dot that follows them. I would have loved to have seen that around Brisbane.
Yeah. Before we move on, I was just going to say there was one, it's because both of you are in this story. I was outside of a pub and I had one guy go, "You're on Guru's podcast," and another guy go, "You're Rando's sister." And I was like, yes to both.
Yes to both. Yeah, both are true.
Rando, was there or has there been a key moment for you when you reflect on how far you've come? Is there just like any standout moment? You mentioned viral moments, how you didn't believe them at uni, but obviously something changed for you to believe that viral moments happen when you work in social media. Is there anything that really stands out to you?
I don't know. I think it's just the people who engage with the content is just blows my mind and is bloody crazy. Like I had the Wiggles follow me a couple of months ago, which is a bit like, I'm like, well, definitely Anthony Wiggles still on the account. Big Tigers fan.
Big Tigers
actually
guy.
like my recent Tigers post about the sim binnings and stuff. I'm not too sure if he liked it, but I think like the people that you meet, and it's just crazy to me that like, you know, you got people like, you know, Willie Mason Scope, and just knowing those ex-players, it's just crazy to me because I'm like, I idolize you, and you just fangirl to the extreme. Like Big Mace messaged me after the charity match try going like, "Is that you? Good shit." And I'm just like, fucking then Scope going like, "Unfamiliar with your game" on my on my recent one. It's just
that was a good post.
It's just crazy. I just want to kind of like build that respect. And that's the thing about self-promotion you were talking about before. Like I didn't talk about my rugby league career until last year on the About Even live show, when not the live one with on Ned's, where I had a few techies deep and was talking about all the different players I played with. I kind of didn't want to really show that side because I didn't want to like go, "Oh, this is me just showing off what I was." But I think it is an integral part to show people like exactly who you are and your personality. And I kind of wanted to gain respect in the sense that I could play back in the day. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully you don't need to justify that anymore. The evidence is
The
out
evidence
there
is
now.
out there. It's,
It's
pinned,
out there.
it's pinned on the profile.
It's pinned. That's how you know it's pinned.
That's how you know.
Yeah. And Guru, since you're here, I'd love for you to answer that question as well. If there's a moment that stands out for you so far.
From social media?
Yeah. As social media or just in general, like I've made it. Not I've made it, but I'm heading in a good direction.
Yeah, I think like when we do our bloke live shows, they're always
Yeah.
big ones for me. Like when we did the 2022 grand final, standing out the front of the stadium with a few thousand people in front of us, that was just
Crazy.
insanity. Vegas was a big one for me too, though. Like to think I'm on the other side of the world
Yeah.
doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And like I'm a huge NFL fan, so like walking through Allegiant Stadium and just all that stuff was just off its head.
Yeah,
so,
that was a double whammy for you, wasn't it?
yeah. Like to be honest with you, I haven't done much traveling in general. So like that was enormous for me, absolutely enormous. And we've already booked our flights to go. Well, you're going to come along this time.
I can't wait.
We've booked flights, and like I'm just so excited for it again after experiencing it the first time and knowing what's coming. So probably Vegas for me was a huge one. Yeah.
I think also knowing that you were spotted by players and they would just have a conversation with you, and I think it's the respect that you've got from not just fans and people that engage with the game, but those that play it too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a big thing with that. Like, I don't know if you want to call us new media or whatever, but like the players just appreciate it.
But it is new. It is. You are the
and
definition
whatever
of
you
new
want
media.
to title it as. Yeah, like it's just a positive thing. And I just love that about it.
It's really cool.
I think that's a big thing as well. I think the player appreciation is huge.
Yeah.
Like getting messages from players who enjoy. I had one from the great Jacko Hastings on Twitter. He was messaging me about how the fuck I come up with some stats and how much he loved it. So that really means the most because I'm not trying to deter the players. I might have a negative stat, but if I'm doing a negative stat, I'm going to do it mainly on the team rather than the player. I think I've learned in the last couple of years, like sometimes I do on the player and I know it might get more engagement, but try and avoid doing it and just kind of like looking more. If it's going to be a negative one, if the team's lost so many games, I won't look at a player who's lost all those games, or I won't look at a referee's sort of record against a certain team. I'll just keep them to myself and just let like kind of like the team's aspect do it. Because I think the big thing is that the player respect and appreciation, as I was talking about with Mason Scope, it's kind of that's what we're doing it for, the game that way, rather than just the fans.
100%.
I think that's what sets apart the type of content that you and Bloke and Hello Sport and those types of creators do versus traditional media, because there's probably more empathy than an average Channel 9 journo. You, especially as a former player, like you understand how it feels to be criticised.
Former player,
former semi-pro, whatever you want to call it.
But I think like even from when I started, like I remember, and I've always sort of kept to those values of essentially don't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember when I was first starting out and you'd see, an article written, giving shit to Latrell, and you'd watch like the traction on it and you'd see all the comments in it and you'd just be like, fuck, that's crazy. But I feel like nowadays general people are starting to realise that a lot of the old media, a lot of it's for
headlines.
clicks.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get certain angles. And I feel like a few years ago it used to just wash over people's heads.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anymore. And I think people can see what we're doing and appreciate the way we're doing it as well, which is massive.
Yeah. It's so important. Okay. We've spoken for a while. Now, one of the things that has been requested to come back is the Guess Roo. I used to do a Who Am I quiz with, I say used to, like we've been around for years, probably 5 episodes ago. But I am going to do one and test you both. And we'll just see who's the first to guess the player. But before I do that, Rando, just tell us what's next for Random Stats Guy, what's coming up. Just give yourself a little plug. I know you got a Patreon. So go for it.
Yeah, I guess the big thing about me moving full-time was kind of looking into more sports and being able to provide stats that you don't usually or you can't really get as conveniently on websites and stuff like that. So we got into the Euros. We're currently in the Euros at the moment. Got the stats up for that. And then off-season, that's a big kicker. I think NFL's a big opportunity. There's definitely a lot of stat sources, more than rugby league at least, that we can get into there, and then EPL, La Liga, and all the big major football tournaments as well. My soccer knowledge personally isn't too great, but like I do with NRL, I just let the stats do the talking. I think that's a big thing, and just being able to provide that avenue. So that's next up on the Patreon, and then of course our exciting project to come soon, TBC. I think that'd be really good, and I really am excited because I think there's a massive niche for that.
Have Spain won the Euros yet?
No, but they will.
They will?
They will win.
They
beat Germany. They did beat Germany.
They beat Germany.
Or was it a handball?
No, they beat Germany fair and square. And then, big weekend of football coming up.
Please don't tell me it's coming home.
It's not coming
With the
home.
greatest respect.
It's Spain for me. I said Spain from day one, and I stand by that. And I also put Netherlands as dark horse. So if they win, I've won both sides. Anyway, this isn't about my stats, is it? All right, let's jump into the Guess Roo, everybody's favorite.
So feel free to jump in whenever you want. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought it was just you and her.
No. This is a battle. This is Spain, Germany all over.
Should we maybe say that we get like 2 guesses each?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How many questions you got loaded?
Well, I've got this specific person's profile open, and I'm just going to go along with it.
Okay.
We usually aim for 4 to 5.
Cool.
Well, let's say 5.
Yeah, I think 5.
Yeah.
I don't want to blow my guesses early. That's
Okay. All right. I'm going to start very broad, okay? And we'll make our way to... Oh, Rando's closing his
Don't
eyes.
be too
He's like...
patient,
I'm just
buddy.
envisioning. I'm falling asleep.
He was going
actually.
to a meditative...
This couch is so comfy.
He's going into a meditative state for this one. Okay. First question. Oh, sorry. First guess. I've played for 2 NRL clubs.
Mm-hmm. Good start.
Narrows it down.
Yeah. Okay. I made my Queensland Cup debut in 2007.
2007. Okay, so if a debut's 2007, Rando, what age are we talking then? We're now in 2000.
No, it was 2008. My debut was in 2008.
In
NRL
Queensland
debut
Cup.
or Queensland Cup?
Queensland Cup.
2008.
Yeah.
So we're looking at someone obviously blooded young, I reckon.
Yeah, so if they were 18 then, what does that mean they are now? What was that, 15 years ago?
I'm not here to
16,
provide
Probably,
answers.
I'm not talking to you. You hold your horses.
I think I have a good idea, and I'm going to
Are
take my
you
first guess.
serious?
Ben Hunt.
Incorrect.
Fuck.
Okay, one guess left. Beautiful.
Okay. It was for the Wynnum Colts.
Okay, Wynnum Manly. Okay. Sweet.
Okay. One of the clubs that I've played for was the Brisbane Broncos in the NRL.
I think I know this one. I think I do, but I'll keep.
You can use your guess whenever you want.
One last guess.
So one of the clubs was the Brisbane Broncos. Was it played for 2 or at least 2 clubs?
Played for 2.
Played for 2? Okay. Brisbane Broncos.
Also, there was no past tense there. I've played for 2.
Played for 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You won't play 4-2 because then you'd play both games, 2 games.
Okay, stats guy.
And we
Grammar
don't know
guy.
if they're a current or former, do we?
You haven't asked.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I think she implied that, I think, in her last thing
Yeah,
about.
I think I've implied that they may still be kicking a ball around.
Getting around. Okay.
Yes.
Let's have another clue.
I've played for my current club since 2015.
Can I have a guess?
Yes.
I'm going to say Jake Granville.
That's correct.
A cowboy.
I know.
Hurts. Come on, Rando.
The silence is
Give us
loud.
a pulse. Give us something over there.
That's, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about him, to be honest. It should have been, yeah.
What was your second guess going to be?
I was looking at Andrew McCulloch because when you said
Ooh,
played,
nice.
that's when I
Okay,
kind of like landed
sorry.
on that.
It's very statistician of you to drill down to me saying a word
And I was,
wrong.
well, like if you fired Jake Granville and it was a no hit, then I would have easily gone straight into that.
Yeah.
But Wynnum Manly and Jake Granville are just iconic. So should have seen that coming from a mile away.
Well done, guys. That's it.
Very good.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
How good.
That was brilliant.
Well,
Love to
that's the-
see they
that's the end
decided
of
to
the
cut down a
catch-up.
heap of trees next door just as we were recording.
Yes,
So
I was going to point that out. If you can hear trees being chopped down, that's because they are.
Wow.
It's happening next
Definitely
to
are.
us.
They paved Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yeah.
that'll do us.
Yeah. Things are changing out here. It's because we're actually expanding Guru Studios.
Yeah, of course we are. Yeah, number
Yeah,
2.
just a bit of
Shame
deforestation
on
in
you
the
guys.
process.
Yeah.
I heard you haven't got
But,
clearance for that either. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Rando. It's nice to sit down and learn a bit more about your story.
No, thank you. Really appreciate it.
and very excited to be unveiling our project sometime soon.
100%.
Very soon, but just not yet. It's too early. We've
Too early. We only just started talking about it.
we have so much more planning to do, but it's very exciting.
It's a good little project though. I like it.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm a fan.
That's good.
Big
we
fan.
need you to be.
Yeah,
It's good. We're just recording our family dinners. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, anyway. Enough on that. Thank you again for joining, and Guru, once again, thank you for sitting in the old chair and contributing as much as you do.
Yeah, thank you. And we've got in the description, we've got Rando's Patreon as well for all of his stats. So go and check that out. Go and sign up, especially if you're already in the Roo crew and whatnot. Jump over because, mate, I actually, when you said you were starting a Patreon, I sort of thought, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And then when I've been at about, even had a look at it, my God, there's some stats in there.
Literally.
It's just overdrive.
It
It's
is
unreal.
overdrive. There's a lot of things, a lot of good stuff in there. It's just finding the good gems. It's just a stats service. Just want to put it out there. But a lot of people do have some fortune if they put money towards said stats.
Yeah, 100%. Whether it's betting, Supercoach, just your NRL knowledge, your pub ammo, whatever it might
absolutely.
be. Well worth it, mate.
100%.
Very well worth it.
Good plug.
Thank you.
Great plug.
Pay you later.
Yeah, you're going to pay him later for that one. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. And if there's anyone that you would like to see sitting in Rando's seat so we can have a chat with them, let us know who you want to hear from. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye, guys.